Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to the seventh episode of Discover Hospitality, a series where we discover hidden jobs and careers in the hospitality industry and share career advice for students, graduates, and those of us with a few years of experience in the hospitality industry. I am your host, Maria Malaniiia, hospitality graduate, guest experience, and brand specialist, and a founder of Savvy Hotelier, a place for hospitality students to ask questions and find resources for their studies and beyond. Discover Hospitality series dives into many areas of the industry, such as events, travel, wine, entrepreneurship, hotels, restaurants, and much more, to really show what's possible for each and every one of us in this wonderful industry. So make sure you follow WHTT and Savvy Hotelier to not miss the upcoming themed events every Thursday live on WHTT. So today's event is all about hotel openings, and with me today I have panelists, three panelists to help us discover what careers are possible in the hotel opening niche and the business side of the hospitality industry. We'll share with you real-life practical examples of the many different ways you can pursue this area, and whatever stage you are in career, please ask your questions. You'll be inspired by these panelists, and we want to make sure you get the most out of this conversation. So do pop the questions in the chat, and we'll make sure to address them throughout the conversation. So without further ado, let's meet the panel. First up, we have Olga Sommer, hotelier through and through. She's worked her way through various brands and hotels on the revenue side of the business, mainly in many different London properties across from mid-scale to luxury, as well as covered some regional roles. Most recently, she was part of the opening team of the new Nobu Hotel London Portman Square. So great to have you with us, Olga.
Thank you very much for inviting me. It's great to be here.
And then we have Hasham Soliman, a serial hotel opener, currently an opening general manager at the Dixon, an autograph collection by Marriott International. Hasham has been part of a hotel opening team of 6 hotels so far, and don't know how many more to come, and has a lot of insight to share with us today. Thanks for joining, Hasham.
Well, good afternoon to you all, and thank you very much, Maria, for putting this together and for inviting me to join you today.
Fantastic. Thank you for having. Oh, hello, Davonne. So I was just going to say, might have you join in a minute, but our third panelist is Davonne Reaves. Is a founder of Chief Hospitality Strategist company Davonne Group, award-winning hotel consultant, hotel asset managers with 14 years of experience. You know, she started her career in front office and then moved over to hospitality consulting. So thank you for joining us, Davonne.
Thank you for having me. Sorry for the tardiness. This is how dedicated I am to the hospitality. I did not want to miss it. I had some issues, and I said, "Oh, I just have to take it from the car." So I'm here.
Amazing. Thank you for joining. So this is live. That's how it works when you go live. So to start off with, I want to first thank you all for sharing your time, volunteering here to tell your stories and give advice to the hospitality industry to kind of really help them figure out what kind of next steps they can have in their careers. To start off these discussions, I really like to ask you to share your stories. So if we can start with Hasham, how did you get started in hotel openings? What made you want to pursue this as a career niche?
Well, actually, it was a little bit by default, to be honest. So I lived in West London, and I currently live in Southwest London. But at the time, I was keeping an eye on a development that was announced at Chelsea Village, which was part of Chelsea Football Club. And I was graduate of the, from hotel school. I'd worked 2 or 3 years, worked my way up to a junior managerial role. And then all I did is really decide to write to Chelsea Village saying that I'm really interested in being part of their development. And within that development, as well as developing the stadium at Chelsea Football Club, they were building 2 hotels. So I think that proactiveness really led me into get an opportunity to have an interview, and from there really I was part of the senior management team to open not 1 but 2 hotels at Chelsea Village. which is now part of the Millennium Group. Prior to that, it was independent. And really from there, I had the opportunity to open the Holiday Inn at the Excel Centre as Deputy General Manager, as well as doing 6 hotel openings, 3 of them as a Senior Manager and 3 of them as General Manager. I also was fortunate enough to do 2 rebranding of hotels. The Holiday Inn I opened as a Deputy General Manager. I also rebranded as a General Manager and it's now a Crowne Plaza at the Excel Centre in London. And really thereafter, I'll let you into a little secret. I think after I did the first one, I said to myself, after this 5-year project is over, I will never open a hotel again. So really the learning from that is never say never. And after you recover from, I think the shock event, probably Olga can relate to that as well. You have the opportunity to realize a vision, and then you get the bug for it. Afterwards, I was approached by the owner of the Tower Bridge Hotel, which is now the Leonardo Royal Hotel, and given the opportunity to open that. And then from there, I went to Park Plaza, although the hotel was already open. It had only been open for approximately 5 years, and I learned probably, I learned a lot from there because it was arguably the busiest hotel in the United Kingdom, with 1,000 bedrooms, 35 meeting rooms. On average, including employees, you had about 3,000 people in the building on a daily basis, running at 90% occupancy. It's a fantastic team, fantastic experience. And from that experience, coupled with my opening, I was given the opportunity to open the Intercontinental at the O2 Arena, which has the largest ballroom, pillar-free ballroom in Europe, with a capacity of 3,000, 5 restaurants and bars, 450 bedrooms, a spa, and that was a real eye-opener. And then from there, I was given an opportunity to open the Dixon, which was something I haven't done. It's a company, a wonderful group called the Dominus Group, which are opening a chain of boutique hotels. And where I am at the moment, it's a Grade 2 listed Edwardian building, with all the challenges that brings. So really integrating a building that's over 100, built in 1905 to a new block that is modern, and integrating the two into the Dixon, which is a fantastic offering at the moment. So really, I got into it by default, and here I am today. So never to say never with regards to not doing something again.
Amazing. Yeah, we've got a great comment from Mariana. You're getting the bug for it. It's kind of like the hospitality bug, but you also got like a hotel opening bug. You're just like, no, I have to keep doing it. I really love doing it. That's amazing.
It is absolutely. It is absolutely. And also, I think what I really enjoy is I think having that vision from taking something to a plan on a piece of paper into realizing it, and building a team, building a culture, translating all the design. You can have the best design hotels, etc., but if you don't, what makes great hotels is great people and great individuals. So if you can't integrate those two, then you don't necessarily have the formula for a successful opening, a successful hotel.
We will get into all that about people shortly as well, because that's what we're here to talk about. Davonne, how did you take a leap from front office? Because you worked in front office for 7 years, if I'm not mistaken, and you moved into hospitality consultancy, kind of straight up to the sideline move. How did you make that move? What made you want to do that?
Well, thank you again, Reaves, for having me. And it's a pleasure to be on the stage with Olga and Hasham. I guess I'm over here representing for the Western Hemisphere. But yes, I was at the front desk for in the front office. I had different roles within the front office for about 6.5 years. And from there, I did task force, meaning I had to work at different hotels to either train on the new PMS system or property management system or operating system, or, if there was a shortage in management staff, then I had to come in and help, I guess, and be like a transition, a rolling or traveling supervisor manager at different properties. And so after I was in the front office, I got into feasibility studies, and I got into development consulting and just overall asset management, which led me into the hotel ownership role that I have now.
Yeah, that's a interesting move, because oftentimes you have to kind of take a step to the side before you get there. But because you joined task force, you had to open several hotels, train lots of
Right.
people. I guess you got that perspective there. That's super
Yeah.
interesting. And
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No. See, as far as opening hotels, they weren't as large as Hasham, so I get it. Opening a big box hotel is just a huge undertaking. So I was fortunate on my end. The hotels are a little smaller. I think the biggest hotel that I've opened, I think it was maybe about 250 rooms, maybe. I think so. And again, it was transitioning from another hotel brand into a Hyatt brand. So that was pretty cool to see that switch and to be a part of that. So again, I had to train from the operating standpoint to make sure that the hotel employees were knowledgeable of the new technology that the hotel was providing.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot goes on in rebranding, equally to opening a whole new one. So
yeah, it does.
Awesome. And Olga, how did you get started in revenue management, and kind of what pulled you into that? What made you want to stay in it? And I guess your first story of joining an opening team as well, if you could share that.
Sure. Well, I was very fortunate, I think, to work with some great directors of revenue managers at the time. And I worked at the Novotel London West, which is 630 bedrooms hotel. And I was really hooked on the whole M&E groups, how it all impacts the transient business. And after that experience, I was in charge of groups reservations. I moved into the Westbury Mayfair 5-star luxury hotels in London, and then to London, the Duke's Hotel in London, which is popular for its or famous for its martinis. And then I was very active on networking and kind of already building my career as reservations and revenue manager. And then I was approached to join the Marriott Hotel as director of revenue there. And it was a newly opened property. So that was really exciting because you don't have any historical data. You need to set up all the processes yourself. You build a strategy, you put everything in place. So that was an incredible experience. And I stayed there for about 2.5 years. I got my Katie's award as revenue manager there. And the team was amazing. It was really good size. The Firmdale Hotel is absolutely fantastic in so many ways what they do. And actually they also have a program of apprenticeship program, and a lot of actually employees move from one property to another. So I think they have quite a good system, which I'm sure we'll touch base later in the conversation. And I was odd one because I wasn't on their program, but I kind of joined because I was already known in the industry. And then from there, I moved to the Millennium Hotels, and I actually managed those two properties that Hasham mentioned in Chelsea. I had involvement with them later on in my career. And one of the properties that Millennium Hotels and Resorts own is the Biltmore Mayfair. So because I had experience in Mayfair market, I was the only one in a revenue team of about 10 or 12 people. I had the knowledge of the Mayfair market, which is really demanding. So I was kind of, asked to join the opening team there, as it happens. And that was a really good experience as well. So we did all the prep and then handed over to Hilton Hotels. And then more recently, I joined back in August 2020, I joined the Nobu Portman Square Hotel. And it's a great size, 250 bedrooms. You have meeting space, and it's a really cool brand as well. And we have amazing team, great general managers. It's really interesting property, and it's super luxurious and lifestyle. It all comes together. It's great there.
It's nice how many people you have in common with Hasham. I
I
can't
know.
even imagine.
It's a very
Yeah,
small
privilege.
industry.
That wasn't the plan. It was complete accident.
Small
But
world.
yeah, exactly. It's nice to see how we all connected, especially if you just think about London, very big, lots of hotels, but you still can find lots of people you know by proximity.
Correct.
And that's the beauty of our industry, I think, both nationally and internationally.
Oh
It can
yeah.
Well, I think, although we're going through a difficult period with COVID, this industry is still a fantastic industry, which has many opportunities for young and old, and allows people a fantastic career to experience amazing things. So hang on in there.
Great. Well, thank you for sharing your stories, for introducing yourselves, and indeed, there is going to be an uptake back into hospitality, but hotels are still opening, and they opened last year, maybe a couple of times. You have to close and open again, but they will open this year, and in the future, there's lots of investment going on as well right now. So, I want to talk a little bit first about hotel openings being different from running a property that is already open. Olga, Hasham, would you mind kind of starting off with how is it different? Hiring a team, or maybe necessarily just the day-to-day opening a hotel, obviously lots to do to prep. Running an existing hotel is kind of more of a BAU kind of process.
Olga, please.
Thank you. I think for me, the main difference is that you don't have things set up. So you need to, starting from hiring the team, and I think Hasham will probably is the better to talk about that. But then in terms of processes and strategy, revenue management, you need to set it all up from scratch. The processes within each of the department, communication, training of the team, culture. There is so much to look at. It's really intense. And you kind of have fairly short period of time to set it all up, to make sure it's all running as it should be, and it's all coming together. So there is a lot of elements to look at, and for me, communication, integration, the systems set up, it's all kind of happens at the same time. And I see this is where the biggest difference.
And just all those valid points, I think, from opening a number of hotels and having also Davonne join the panel, it's really important to also understand the requirements of the asset owner, because ultimately this is their project. They also have a dream and a vision that they want realizing. So really taking that on board, and the plans related to that. There will be, business plans. There'll be budgets. There will be certain financial expectations, but as well as financial expectations, getting from a point where it's an idea to realization takes a number of years, really. And probably the easiest way to break it down is in the three areas of finance, the quality delivery element, and the people element. So I know we're going to talk a little bit about the human resource side of things, which is as valuable as the asset itself. But you also have things like fire life safety. You have OF&E, FF&E. From the people element, you have learning and development. From the finance side, you have certain budgets and constraints you have to work within in order to open it. And in fairness, the list goes on. You have to meet bank expectations, all the way through to systems, and the asset itself, the fabric of the building, in order to deliver what the guest wants when you open your doors.
That's a lot. Just like, if you think there's so many things to do, obviously, to open a hotel. And it's great that you mentioned the business side of hotel asset and all the different stakeholders on there, because obviously you're opening with someone else's money. So Davonne, do you want to share a little bit on how that works? What's that stakeholder relationship and what to think about?
It's so funny when both Olga and Hasham both were talking. The first thing that came to mind was budgeting, right? You know, when you bring in labor, developing our hotels, or when you have to open the hotels, is very, very capital intensive, and it's often sometimes hard to budget, right? Because you're benchmarking compared to, you know, other hotel openings, you know, and like-minded or, you know, comparable sizes, but something always goes wrong. I'm sure Olga and Hasham can have plenty of stories where they mapped out everything perfectly to a T. They're like, okay, you know what? We had a mistake last time. We're not gonna do it this time, right? And the next thing you know, a mistake happened. And usually when a mistake happens, it's always a cost associated with it, right?
Absolutely.
And so just from an asset management perspective, you know, that's when you build in contingencies, you know, that's when you build in budgets, and you have to be realistic that things are going to happen. Typically when I do my budgets, I over budget, right? Because I rather over budget than come in and you're like, hey, all right, Davonne, we're gonna need another check. Because, you know, there was a mistake, and mistakes are going to happen, right? So the biggest thing is just really managing expectations, really understanding, and you also want to provide a level of quality, because when you're opening a hotel, you know, you're bringing in a lot of times. I know in the States, I'm not sure how it is internationally, but you have to sometimes dealing, if you're with the brand or if you're with the management company, you know, they have an opening team, or you have to bring in other members from other hotels, and they're literally just there to open the hotel, right? So you have all these different moving parts, all these different people that they're just there to help. Their hotel isn't their particular baby, because they know they're coming in, doing a job, and they're getting out and gone. So it's not the same level of intensity as it would for, you know, someone like myself who owns the asset, or was a part of the ownership group. Like, this is going to be my baby for 3 to 5 years, right? So I'm going to be looking at it from a different perspective.
It's an interesting thing you mentioned, like opening team that comes in to open, which is kind of seems to be a skill set almost, that you come in, you open the hotel, and you just move on to the next, whether you're part of an owner group or it's just or you move around in different ways. Hasham was recruited to do those things because I'm guessing that's because you did the other previews so well. So actually, great question from Mariana here, and something I want to point in terms of when it comes to recruiting that opening team. There's usually a handful of senior team, which maybe 4 or 5 people, depending on the size of the property. But then the second and third layers, when it comes closer to the opening, what are the skills that you're looking for when it comes to recruiting for an opening team versus maybe regular?
I don't necessarily think that you have to have opening experience. What you need to have is a competent team. Okay, and a lot of it is about recruiting individuals that have the will, because you always, I was given the opportunity to be part of a team to open a hotel for the first time, and that's how I kicked on. So also, it's all about recruiting the right people with the right skill set and competencies to do the specific role that you're looking for, and not one shoe fits all. So, but also, part of that is having an onboarding plan. So usually it does start with, for example, the director of sales and marketing, and it could be the chief engineer. And the reason why the chief engineers would be one of the first people to come on board, because if they come on board early, it's important that they understand the fabric of the building during the build period. Therefore, they can look after the asset in the long term and work very closely with the contractors who are building the property. But then it's important to have a coherent organizational chart with really detailed job descriptions, so you get the right people fulfilling those roles. Whether if they've had previous opening experiences, it's a bonus, but it's not necessary. And you mentioned being part of a brands. I've been fortunate enough to work for some fantastic brands such as IHG and currently Marriott. Opened many hotels around the globe. So they do have a fantastic critical path with regards to opening property, a really, really coherent learning and development offering. But also it's important to get that culture bit right, and how to reflect the property and the brand that you're opening, is to put your leadership team through that leadership development. And I've been fortunate enough to work with some fantastic companies such as Hilary Cook from Merlin. If you haven't worked with her before, look her up. She does some fantastic things for the industry, and at all levels. And you take a lot of inspiration from people like that, who allow you to think differently. Because if you always do what you always did, you'll always get what you always got. So make sure you have the capacity to change in order to deliver effectively.
Yeah, certainly there's a lot going on. Olga?
Yeah, just wanted to add, I completely agree that it is about specific skill set and probably a more right attitude. It doesn't have to be previous opening experience. I agree that it's kind of an additional great bonus, but I would take it even a step further, because one of the most recent recruits we had in our team is the person who never worked in the hotels, but had 8 years experience of working in the high-end restaurants within Asian cuisine. And this is actually the skill set that we were lacking at the time. So we offered the job, and that was really, really the right decision. So it's not necessarily even the hotel's experience in the hospitality industry. If you have a specific skill set and it can benefit their business, perfect. Then you just need to highlight this. It can be language as well. There is a lot right now emphasis on social media marketing. If you're coming with, video, audio kind of filming industry, you have opportunities within hospitality as well. So it doesn't have to be limited to just hotels. It's great if you have experience and knowledge and worked already in hotels, but it's not necessarily have to be this way.
Yeah, the recruitment for a hotel opening will be different, for sure, because obviously there's, I would say you need to be very agile, very flexible, and be able to kind of move and faster than on a day-to-day basis. So there's a great question from Mariana, just to kind of add on to this again. They say opening are not from everyone. What skills can one, for example, as a junior front office manager need to have to handle the opening emotionally, and the physical and emotional workload and the crazy hours? Any tips?
Get sleep before you go to work. Go to sleep before you go to the hotel opening, because I'm sure Hasham and Olga knows there's no sleep until after the hotel opens. Then maybe you get like 2 hours of sleep. Maybe.
Yeah, energy, the right attitude, positivity, being really up for it. And also I would say, if it is junior front office manager, I would say previous experience in training the team and coming up with creative solutions, how to train other team members, because it will need to happen. So if you have something that you can already implement, share, you will take some of the workload from front office managers. So, and that's what we're looking for, is that, you are able to run with it. You're able to implement ideas, suggest ideas, implement and run with them, because everyone will have to work double, if not triple, of what normally you work in a normal hotel.
Yeah, and I think just to add to that, I think Devon mentioned that things do go wrong, and absolutely they do go wrong with hotel openings. My advice would be really to plan again, and always think of the mitigating circumstances and potentially things that will go wrong. If you spend some time thinking about what may go wrong, you will mitigate that. And I always give a piece of advice to anybody who has previously joined my pre-opening teams, whether at senior management level or at operational frontline level, is that the opening of the hotel, when that day comes, it's the beginning. Okay, a lot of people make the mistake thinking, they come on board 6 months, a year, whatever, to the pre-opening, and they think, okay, we've opened the hotel, and they've run out of steam. What they don't realize, it's the beginning of the journey. So you really need to pace yourself and plan.
Speaking of planning, Davonne, is there a specific time frame from opening team for pre-opening hotel, or does it depend on each project? There's a great question from Avalon.
Oh, okay. Planning. I'm sorry. I was looking at another question somebody had. I didn't know if you wanted me to answer about the spreadsheets. Somebody asked.
Go for it.
Somebody asked. People tend to forget spreadsheets. That's surprising. But how important? I guess the narrative and storytelling when selling a project. When selling a project, meaning when you're pitching it to someone else. What do you?
I believe that's the question. I think it's more of a, how do you get someone on board to the project and have to tell the story of the property? So, for example, yourself as an investor to my property.
It's all about the story. It's all about the narrative. Like, people have to, if you're, if we're opening, if we're trying to buy a new property, and if it's about the location, it's about the brand, it's about the operator, it's about the people who's going to be running and operating the day-to-day operations. It's about the ownership group. It's about, what the hotel is going to look like in 3 to 5 years. And from an investor standpoint, we care about our return on investment, but me getting my start in the front desk, I look at things a little differently as an investor. Some investors or some hotel owners or asset managers, they look at the employees as a number. And as we can see, Olga and Hasham and myself and Maria, we're not a number. We're actually people. So that's the story that I try to tell. And that's the story because I've been there on the front lines. I've been in the openings. I've been in the transitions. I've been, had to work because folks called off. So I get it. I've been there and hours had to be cut because business was slow. So I remember those days like they were yesterday. And so I have to remember that folks who are working on the front line and cleaning rooms and serving guests and fixing, broken toilets, that's a person, right? So and everyone has a story. So as far as the story, it's all about the narrative. And spreadsheets, that's not good that people are forgetting spreadsheets. Spreadsheets are crucial to the business as far as, making sure everybody's on task when it comes to opening, making sure that we're on budget. So if a spreadsheet is missing, that is concerning. That's actually one of the first things that we, should take a look at. It's like the spreadsheet is like our Bible, right? It's like our book that we use to go by. Okay, who's on task, who's not on task? Maria, you said you was going to do this. Olga, you're supposed to be doing this. Hasham, you're supposed to be handling this. And then you have that project manager who's handling everything to make sure everybody is supposed to do, what their assigned task.
Let's hope it's only exception from the rule, because budgets and spreadsheets are actually crucial. And it's not necessarily always has to be a mistake. We were opening hotels during COVID, so you have additional elements sometimes that you don't necessarily foresee even. So yes, you have a budget. Yes, you've done it 5 times, and you constantly redo it, and you kind of adjust. You have to be really, really flexible and don't hold on too tight to your ideas, because the industry is changing very fast. And with the COVID pandemic, it kind of accelerated that process. So, just be kind of open-minded and don't be, I would say, just be flexible. It's continuously changing, and it's right now acceleration we're seeing of that.
Brilliant. Actually, I want to take the conversation a bit to giving a bit more of a career advice. How does one get into joining a hotel opening team? Obviously, we've now figured out it is an amazing, fast-paced project to be part of, and if it's your thing, it's probably going to be your thing for a very long time. And if it's not your thing, I think we just had a comment here on the screen, you'll know quite quickly equally as well. So there is a balance of things. So if I am just starting out in the industry 5-4 years down the line, how do I join a hotel opening team? It sounds super exciting. Hasham, can you tell me where to find this?
I think if it's something that you're looking for, like anything, if you're looking for a job or a certain career, or want to, focus on a particular, department, etc., then you just need to put yourself forward. Apply for it. It's as simple as that. Yeah. And be prepared to make the sacrifices. Go in 100% committed. it sounds very glamorous, but it is extremely hard work. And I'll give you an example. I think I took somebody on board, I'm not going to mention which hotel, for the first time for a pre-opening, and they arrived and said, well, where's my desk and where's my computer, etc. And then I just reminded them, the desks haven't been delivered yet. Yeah. And we'll assign you a laptop, but you have to find somewhere. So that sometimes things just don't arrive in time. Things do go wrong. Expect the unexpected, but really be prepared. And I think the beauty of opening also hotels is that even if you focus in a particular area, so for example, whether it's F&B or housekeeping, everybody becomes part of the housekeeping team in a hotel opening. And I can see because you have to do literally everything. But the beauty of that is also creates a great synergy within the team. So when it does come to opening the hotel, everybody knows everybody in all areas. And trust me, each area within the hotel is equally as important as the other, whether it's revenue or housekeeping or the kitchen or wherever it may be. So put yourself forward, apply, don't be shy. And if you get a knockback, apply again.
My experience was actually different from that. I didn't apply. I was asked, because when we transitioned from a new operating system, I really took the time to really learn it. So I was almost like the expert. I didn't realize that it would change the trajectory of my career by having me go to different hotels to help train other people. That's not what I was just doing my job. Also, to the question as far as how you can get in, if it just may be a simple ask by your supervisor or manager, and they're like, hey, there's a hotel, opening in X, Y, and Z. Do you have the availability? Because typically sometimes with hotel openings, you have to leave for a month to 2 months or even more, and you have to you're staying in that hotel for a long period of time. So for some who have families or they're in school, it may not be possible for them to actually leave for that period of time. So that's something that you have to all think as well if you have to travel, because typically the hours you spend, it's at least 12 to 14 hours a day that you're working nonstop. So I love the fact that on this panel, everyone is pretty much telling the truth of, what hotel openings look like. It's fun, but it's a lot of high energy. It's a lot of time. Mistakes do happen. So I just definitely want to put that out there, that it is a lot of time that you're putting in. So for folks who want to do openings, kind of just think about that. You have to be realistic, with yourself. Can I devote, at least 12 to 14 hours a day, 7 days a week to ensure that this hotel opens on time and on budget?
On time and on budget. That is a good point. That is the core objective. We've got many good questions coming up.
Maria, can I just add to this? If we look at the opportunities, I think right now this really episode was really key. I find it incredibly exciting. In UK, in London, we will have 8 openings this year happen, and the recruitment was already started. Only today I saw new 2 job adverts. Within the UK, if we look at some hotels that opened in the end of 2020, we're looking at 20 hotels, 20 properties. That is a great opportunity. And as Hasham said, it's pretty much just applying for the job. You have different ways to do it. I would say sign up on LinkedIn to all, follow those groups, because then you will see the job adverts first. Make sure that you, on their websites, you go to careers page, because again, that's where the jobs will be. Make sure your profile, if you're passionate, if you're concierge and you're passionate about what you do, make sure your LinkedIn, your social media is screaming about it. You need to be in front of everyone's eyes. You need to be wanted, because that's how you will get approached. Most of the times you will be headhunted for the openings. So you need to have specific skill set or something that will benefit the property. Networking, as I said already, is incredibly important, and just elevating that, whatever unique is about you and that you're passionate about. No one right now recruits without just any credit checks or any social media checks. We all look at all of those platforms, and it's incredibly important. If you want to become part of the opening team, I wouldn't even limit yourself to just UK or the market you're based. If you're, for example, Russian speaking and you want to open a new hotel, okay, look at the places like Dubai, Malaysia, I don't know, Bali, whatever. These are the key destinations for that particular market. Your skills as an additional language will be beneficial. So then approach directly. I think there are many ways how this can be achieved. It is, in a way, I think, as a long-term career. If you're joining as you have no experience, it might be tricky, in which case it will come down to the right attitude.
And can I just add one more thing to that? It's really important, especially for a lot of the graduates in hospitality who are looking to go into this area. It's really, really imperative, if you want to do a pre-opening, you also do the post-opening, okay? See it through, okay? Because it's a job, it's half the job done to get the hotel door open, but then you have to commit a certain period to actually realize what you set out to do and make it work. Be committed. I know a lot of the younger people, certainly from my experience in hotels, their eagerness, sometimes they want to pack and go and what's the next challenge, but actually the challenge in itself is that commitment to see the job through. And that's not just getting the hotel doors open, it's actually getting it running and making that first year budget. And the second.
Hasham, just that's spot on, right? Because you never know what's going to happen until the hotel opens. Planning, budgeting, sometimes it's like goes out the door, because you won't know until a guest actually checks in. Okay, wait a minute, the technology worked, during pre-opening, but now a guest actually checked in, and now it's not making sense from the guest experience or guest perspective, or a guest comes into the restaurant and how it's set up. Even you can test, and I'm sure you do different tests, and you bring different folks in to experience the but Hasham, as you just mentioned, as far as being commitment, that's really when the work happens, really during that post-opening, to make sure everything that you implemented, to make sure everything goes through.
Thank you.
But I think I agree with that 100%. And it should be pretty much a couple of years commitment, not just the first year, because opening team, it will take 8 to 12 months, just easily kind of that opening stage. And then if you really want to see results, for some roles in revenue management, you will see results, only well after a year. So I think some senior roles, there should be at least 2.5 year commitment, because only that's when you will see actually results. So, and yes, I personally think, looking at some of the CVs and kind of just 2 quick jumps, I think it's important to have that commitment as well from the team, and putting yourself commitment to it.
Yeah, it's a great point, actually, when it comes to thinking about your future career. If you do want to get into hotel openings, that you need to show on your current, and what you need to do in your current job is, what is the result? How have you have creative solutions to problems? Because that is exactly what you're going to need to do every single day before you open, in the first year or so of opening. And that is a really crucial thing to think about. It's not just being part of the hype of opening the latest luxury hotel in London or whatever. That's just an excitement. There is a lot of hard work and the mindset to it, like you all described already. You need to be in it, you need to love it, and you want to do it. And it's the results that you bring, it's the value, the creativity, the problems that you solve. And there's just something to think about. So for anyone here who's kind of thinking about getting into it, or if it's a student thinking, oh, that sounds exciting, what do I need to do? That's what you need to do. You need to build that portfolio and build your brand and networking, like you said, Olga, as well. It doesn't mean you have to post 4 posts a week and write blog posts, but be out there, connect with people, and just really let people know that you're interested in that, and then keep applying, looking for it. That's perfect. We have lots of questions. I don't even know where to begin picking some of these amazing questions. What positions do you recommend for young, talented graduate? Mariana, you asked lots of great questions, by the way, just saying. But do you recommend for graduate hospitality college to apply to kind of get into opening later on? I guess it doesn't matter, like you said. It could be any department, right?
Well, ideally, department that they are passionate about or they're interested to develop with someone. But then, equally, having said that, I'm sure no one's careers are stagnant. So you most likely will move and learn something else. But yeah, something that you're interested in, somewhere you think you will fit, your personality will fit really well, or you have a specific skill set or something you're interested about, because that's you're doing it every single day. You really need to enjoy it. So yeah. I think you'll naturally gravitate to the area you're kind of interested in, and then your career will take you somewhere else next stage.
Also adding to that, I think you should also try to broaden your experience. I would recommend that you always set out your end goal and then the roadmap in order to achieve it. So from the point of view, I wanted to, when I graduated, I was right, I'm going to be a general manager before the age of 35. I just about made it at the age of 30. But I felt the pressure. And when you set yourself goals and target like that, you're more focused on achieving them. And I started off at F&B, and then I did front office, etc. And then I did a period in housekeeping. If your gut kind of tells you, oh, that doesn't appeal to me, or you should shy away from it, my advice to you is don't do it, okay? Because you will enhance your overall skill set, and once you start to tackle the areas that don't necessarily appeal to you, then you'll be in a stronger position to manage and lead in the future competently, which is really, really important. So set yourself goals, targets. Some are smaller, some have larger milestones, etc. But that way you'll end up hopefully achieving your long-term goals.
If I may add to that, just looking at my career and I knew that I was passionate about revenue management when I started maybe 10, 15 years ago in that field. And I knew that to be really competent in that particular field, I needed to learn not just revenue management in, 5-star, 200-bedroom size hotel, but I needed to have experience in individual reservation, group reservations, managing revenue for 800 bedrooms hotel, managing revenue for 100 bedrooms hotel, apartments, everything. So you need to be, and you have experience really diverse. So yes, not limiting yourself, and really, I think every single job should be, what else can I learn? From what I already know, every single job should be, okay, well, I want to apply for this job because then I will learn X, Y, and Z. Doing the same thing is just not going to enhance your career overall in a long time.
No, yeah. I mean, I definitely agree with Olga and Hasham because, if you all noticed what they said, Olga basically, I'm revenue management. So she wanted to learn every different part or particle of revenue management so that way she can be the best at what she does. And Hasham, in order for you to be a general manager, you have to understand every different department in a hotel. That's the only way that you'll be able to manage the process. And so, my goal kept changing. I wanted to be director of sales. I never wanted to be in revenue management. I like shadowed and revenue. I was like, oh no. So I'll let you have that, Olga. It's much needed. It's definitely a much needed a resource in hotels. And then I transitioned out of in operations, and I said, okay, I want to get more of the transactional side or the feasibility study and asset management side. But as far as if you graduate and go straight into openings, I've seen that, but I've seen more people really, because the reason why openings can be exciting because you're going to different hotels, so it's something new, fun, and exciting. But I would recommend that you understand the basics first, because when you go into openings, it's fast paced and nobody really has enough time to train you because you're training others. So I would take the time to really understand the fundamentals of hospitality or whatever department you're trying to get into and become an expert at that. Because if you go into a hotel opening, you're going to be lost and you're going to be overwhelmed and you're not going to have an appreciation for the hospitality industry. And because people won't have time to train you. Olga and Hasham, I don't know if y'all want to add to that. No one has time you have time to train people to get the hotel up and running, not to train you so that you can get that's too much and nobody has time. As you can see, we're spending 12 to 14 hours a day trying to get the hotel up and running.
Yeah, usually with openings, you want to get the best of the best. You get the best people from the market, because you need to have the strongest who will be actually, implementing and making things happen. Truly, you don't have, with a couple of extensions, normally, yes, you will be quite limited in learning, or you will be teaching most of the times, or showing how to do things.
Mm. Yeah, fantastic. Well, we're wrapping up to the end of it, and you just Davonne kicked off on like a really good piece of advice for anyone who's interested, is to get experience first, because you're gonna need to know it if that's what you want to do. If you want to open hotels, so you need to know what you're doing in your specialty niche, and you need to also understand how the whole machine works. There's lots of moving pieces which we covered in the beginning. Olga and Hasham, do you have any sort of last piece of advice, or summarize? Obviously there was lots of points made, there's lots of things to think about. Maybe if you can put it in a frame, what is like your favorite moment, memory, story from a hotel opening, and then put that in the angle. Hasham, maybe?
I've got so many, to be honest, but I will share with you a recent one, because everyone's been slightly different. But when I opened the Intercontinental at the O2, you plan so many things, and when we started to receive all the deliveries for the hotel and the ballroom, what really caught us out is actually we had so much cardboard that we did dispose of. It really took us by surprise. So you think about it, where you have a 450 bedroom hotel with 5 restaurants, 2 bars, and a ballroom, and the ballroom, just to deliver one dinner for 3,000 people, we were touching 20,000 pieces of cutlery, crockery, and glassware in an evening. So you start to think about unwrapping, 500 kettles, 500 iron boards, 500 etc. The list goes on and on and on. And what really took us by surprise is the mountain of cardboard that was coming down from the floors, from the ballroom. So much so, it nearly filled the ballroom that holds 3,000 people. And getting it away logistically was a job in itself. So always expect the unexpected. Don't be surprised. But it is a lot of fun. It is lots of fun, and this industry is a lot of fun. So whether it's an opening or working in hotels, you've chosen an absolutely amazing career. Persevere. COVID will be over soon, and there are some fantastic properties, some fantastic leaders around the world, and in the UK, and I'm sure in the States as well. So enjoy your journey and keep learning. So that never ends. I had the opportunity to get a scholarship in Cornell in the States, and that was in the latter part of my career. So never stand still. Keep an open mind and keep learning, and that way you will keep developing.
If I can go next, yes, thank you. Kind of a note, not necessarily the best memories, but Davonne mentioned about the budget. Yes, we may not always hit the first year budget because there is a lot of things that are changing, but I would say on the budget note, keep in mind 5-year figure, because that's a really important one. And that curve of when you achieve your results may not necessarily happen in the first second, but as long as you keep within 5 years, and that curve will slightly change for various reasons. I know that Ina asked the question in the Nicaragua. I was asking, what are the skill set required? I think something about technology. The reality is that there are a lot of new systems are coming. So ideally, if you have opportunity, try to keep an eye on what's happening on the market, how the market is changing, and possibly try and test whether you can implement them in your property or just request demo or free trial. So try to get your hands and knowledge on different systems. And again, it goes back to pure networking, whether it is St. Julian scholars, studying at Cornell University or Cranfield. There are different ways how you can learn from networking within the industry. So asking, what are the new systems, trying to keep it up on top of what is happening and what new systems. We recently investigated various revenue systems, and we found that actually it's much better to have someone internally do all reports, because they're not always, systems are not perfect, and even if they integrate, they don't necessarily have all the modules that you have, and so on and so forth. So you need to have the right talent and the right skill set within your team, potentially. In terms of integration, it's really important. If you're implementing any system, have a trial of it first, and consider if there will be any manpower required to run the system, how much time it will take and effort, and whether you will achieve the new goals and new kind of targets with implementation of any systems. Flashing new tech, it doesn't necessarily mean it will benefit the business. And from best memories, very similar to what Hasham explained, is that, cleaning the restaurants, cleaning the ballroom, unpacking cutlery, it's all very fresh in the memories when we're opening Nobu Portman Square Hotel. So yeah, it's probably the best pieces, because that's when you can see team really come together, and really that's where you build relationships, and that's what stays. That's why the opening team actually is very close at the end as well, because you've shared so many incredible memories and emotions. It's really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite memory, Davonne?
Oh gosh. Oh goodness. It's so many. You know what I do like? So I'm not a foodie, but I love eating food. And so I love the taste of food. So that's my favorite memory, to be the first one to try out the food and make recommendations. But actually the memories is Olga just mentioned. You do develop a strong bond in friendships, right? I'm still friends, or I'm still connected with some of the people who I've opened hotels with. It's just, they're all over the world, and we're still connected, just because we spent maybe a month or two together. But that month or two together, it's like I said, at least 12 to 15 hours a day that you're with each other, that, pretty much they turn into your family during that short period of time. And so you just develop strong bonds, not only professionally, but personally as well. And so those are the memories that I have. Still have fun, Facebook has like the Facebook memory. So it's so funny. Like when I see the Facebook memory pop up, I'm like, hey, you remember this? But yeah, those are the good memories that I have. It wasn't, they say it's your passion when you work so much that you realize that you're not working, you're just having fun. And essentially that's what I remember. It was some good days and it was some bad days. But it was more good days than bad. And that's definitely what I remember.
Amazing. Thank you all so much. I mean, we are just at the brink of finishing at the 1 hour. Amazing advice.
So
I know, and time really flies when you're having fun.
Thank you very much for inviting us. It's been great fun and pleasure.
Yeah, and thank you to my colleagues on the panel, Olga and Davonne, and Maria, to you for organizing it. And I know there's another Maria in the background doing all the tech, so I'd like to say thank you to her as well.
Thank you all so much, and thank you for the audience for all your questions and all your participation, and really joining us. And really amazing to have you here. And of course, if anyone has any questions to the panelists, shoot them a message on LinkedIn. They will surely reply and help you out as well. And thank you so much. Next episode is in 2 weeks' time on the 11th of March. So there is a link in the comments to sign up for that as well. It's going to be talking about tech. We just talked about tech, so we're going to have a look at that and careers within the hospitality tech sector. So thank you so very much, and have a fantastic day, morning, afternoon, wherever you are.
Thank you all so much. This is great.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.